Coach, the joy was evident Sunday. I wonder how long it took the team or is taking the team to sort of get regrounded.
Well, we'll see. We haven't practiced. The guys had off yesterday. That's a big part of this is how exciting the 4 days in DC were. And then trying to get refocused as quickly as we can. So, I feel like that's a big part of my job, and try to make sure that over today and tomorrow that our focus is sharp and our preparation is good for Iowa.
Yeah, along the same lines, I know you suggested after the victory on Sunday, you were hoping for a Friday game to give you an extra day since you were playing on Sunday. Iowa's got the same deal. They played on Sunday. It's still surprising to you that both these teams are playing Thursday rather than Friday?
Well, I don't really know how it works, so it's hard for me to say. I don't know how they decide which cities play Thursday, Saturday, Friday, Sunday. So no, I was just hoping that we would play Friday, not, because that would be a little bit better of a break for us. But this is what we have, and we'll make sure that we're ready.
And impressions of the Hawkeyes, starting with Keegan Murray on this.
Yeah, great. Keegan Murray's, tremendous. He's going to be a lottery pick, a great player. He could just score in so many ways. He's athletic, but can really shoot. He's smooth. Really super impressive player. They're great on offense, tremendous on offense. They've been great on offense, probably Fran's whole tenure there, but certainly, year in and year out, they put so much pressure on you because of their ability to score the ball. Great shooting, very low turnovers for a team that plays at a fast pace and passes very, very low turnovers. So they're getting shots with guys who can make shots. A great style of play where the players are making most of the decisions, who are, know how to play, and some older guys, really a tremendous team.
Hey, lastly for me, Ivy League guy from Philly, trying to get an Ivy League guy from Philly. He's 13 years older than you. I don't know how much interaction you guys have had over the years. I think he was at Notre Dame. You were coming out of high school, so probably, I don't know if he recruited you or not.
He tried. Yes, I've known him for a long time. He's a pretty legendary figure. His nickname's White Magic in Philadelphia basketball circles. And I can remember he was super young head coach at Lehigh. And I knew about that Lehigh team a little bit. I think they may have played Temple in the first round of the NCAA tournament in 86 or 88. And so I've known about him and then met him when I was in college. Coach Carroll had recruited him. So we've shared a lot of Coach Carroll stories, and he and I are pretty close. We hired Darius, strongly on Fran's recommendation. He's certainly been somebody I've looked up to and has had tremendous success, and we've been pretty close. I think he interviewed for the Richmond job a long time ago. There you go.
Thanks for ruining that story.
I scooped you.
Thank you.
You guys don't do it all the time, but you have a fair amount of experience getting ready for teams that might be a little bit bigger, maybe a little more physical. What is the key, generically to a smaller team being able to hang with a bigger team over 40 minutes?
Yeah, that's a great question. Well, one, your mindset, in that you have to be confident and competitive and, a strong will, because that is really, really critical. Before you even see the players on the team, when you're playing a major conference team like Iowa, that part of it, you want that to have no impact on the game. So I think your mindset is one. I think number two is you have to take care of the ball. You have to maximize your chances of scoring, get the best shots you possibly can. and hopefully you're getting familiar shots, because even though, maybe they're slightly closer on their contest or their closeout or at the rim, you have to shoot the ball a little bit higher to get it over an outstretched arm. You still want to shoot familiar shots that you've practiced and that you're used to, whether you're scrimmaging one another, playing an A-10 game or playing a high major team. And then 3, you really have to, you have to gather some loose balls and some long rebounds, things like that, 50-50 balls, those kinds of things. You have to be quick to those and aggressive on those because, this team in particular, Keegan Murray is going to make a couple of shots that we have not seen be made against us. And that you don't want that to be demoralizing. You can understand that, but if they're also scooping up loose balls or getting long rebounds, that becomes that much more, that much trickier. So really important to take care of the ball, get familiar shots, and really battle on those loose balls.
The first 25 minutes against Rhode Island notwithstanding, did you see this team play with a freedom that you might not have seen during the regular season?
Yeah, I don't know if I would use the word freedom necessarily, but I definitely see what you mean. Yeah, I think I just think more the passion and energy just took over the game and instinct, and it was less about what just happened or what's about to happen, and just play and read your defender, read your opponent, and make the play as hard and as aggressively as you can. So I definitely think that was, that was best exemplified over the last week.
I think I know how you're going to answer this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. As happy as you were for your players and especially your seniors, did a little part of you allow yourself to be happy for you, for everything that fairly or unfairly has come your way over the last couple of years, as it's been, 11 since you guys made it to this far?
Yeah. I mean, I'm certainly happy for myself. Not for that reason. I gotta say, I don't really care. I'm not saying it was a great thing or it wasn't, or it was pleasant, but I don't really care. It's not a motivating factor for me. We have 20 players. I got updates on these guys from the weight room and the training room. Academically, I think we had maybe 10 former players that were at the game. I have a lot of people that I care about before anything like that. So I don't really care.
Go ahead, David.
Chris, Jacob has more career minutes than anyone in college basketball in the last dozen seasons, at least. How do you and/or your strength staff, if at all, have to manage him in practice and away from games because of that minutes load?
Yeah, that's incredible. Number one. I'd say our strength staff does a really good job with that and his recovery and all of those things. One of his great gifts is that he's very rarely tired. I think last year in the COVID year, we were playing St. Joe's and he called timeout. That's really the only time I can remember being tired on the court. I mean, tired to the point of to needing a rest. So, I would say we try to make sure that he has very manageable practices, especially at this point in his career. And the strength and conditioning staff really work hard to help him recover and do the things that he needs to do to get his body rested and ready. And then from a practice standpoint, he has a great voice in practice and does a lot of things for us or speaks at practice very often. But we try to get him as off the court as much as I can to manage that time, knowing that he'll likely play 40 minutes in the game.
Does he get cranky when you take him out?
Very, very. A lot of eye rolls and drop the ball. Yeah, he does not like it.
How quickly, when he came to Richmond, how quickly did it dawn on you and your staff that this was a guy who was going to play a ton of minutes?
It was pretty evident early. He could just play forever. If the guys played pickup, he could just play forever and pick up full court and have the ball and, push the ball in transition, no matter how many games they played. In practice, he was just able to always go. And, he just rarely, part of the greatness of his game is stealing the ball. And when other players relax, he's in a position to steal the ball. And that's a part of that is always because he's always on the move and quick and anticipating. So it was really early that I thought that he would be a guy who could play the entire game.
You ever coached anyone quite like him?
No, not like him. I mean, we've had such great guards here. Kevin Anderson. I remember when Kevin Anderson graduated, we were talking, and one of the assistants said, "We got to find another Kevin Anderson." I said, "I don't think you're going to find another Kevin Anderson." But Jake, their games are a little bit different. But in terms of, just the ability to control the entire game, that's where they're similar. Just the ability to control the entire game with the ball, away from the ball. Jacob, in terms of talking guys through timeouts and where they're supposed to go, maybe a little bit more, but they could just control the entire game.
Go ahead, John, with Hoop State.
Coach, I know that, as you said, the players do control the game because they're the ones on the floor scoring and rebounding and everything. But as somebody who's played in this tournament a couple of times and lost by single digits each time, I was wondering what you think about the impact of coaching in March, specifically in light of the fact that you played for a guy named Kirill and against a couple of guys named Massimino and Boeheim.
So what was the question? I got lost in your incredible.
You're too kind. I think just trying to get a sense of, I know that the players are the ones who decide whether you win or lose, but when it comes down to a close game in March, what specific impact does great coaching have?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's a big part of it, and it's nothing that we're going to do this week necessarily, but preparation is just so critical. I think that where Coach Kirill was so great was, it felt like we were preparing to play North Carolina the first day of practice. And it was, he would always say, you're not competing against the opponent, you're competing against yourself, and how great can you be? And we were preparing to play the very best teams in the country. And that's why we had so much success against those high level teams. But yeah, coaching is of course very important. I think the best thing you could do is how can you put your players in the best situation? So if they switch defenses, or you alert to it and you have something to go to. If they decide to press, can you quickly adjust to it and have something to go to? Not being too distracted by an official's call or a bad play by one of your players. Being forward thinking and big picture thinking so that they can go out and execute each play. I kind of think that's, especially in this kind of a setting, I think that's probably the most important thing with all the emotion that everybody has, that the coach trying to maintain, concentration so that he can see that he's looking at the last 10 minutes of the first half while you're playing the first 10 minutes of the first half, having a feel for what adjustments might need to be made.
Aaron Robinson, good.
How's it going, Coach? I was just wondering, the similarities. Obviously, Iowa is an extremely elite offensive team, and you guys just played in an elite offensive team in Davidson. Both of those are top 10 offenses in the country in offensive efficiency. Obviously, there's no Keegan Murray on Davidson, but I'm just wondering if there's any carryover, between defending Davidson and how you guys plan to defend Iowa coming up.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, I would say there are a lot of similarities because they're multiple shooters and really good players. Murray has, when Murray has the ball, it's just, it's a little bit different than from when anybody we've faced pretty much has the ball. Maybe the guy from NC State, who's a great player. Yeah. But when he has the ball, it's just different then, but there are similarities because they do pass the ball well. They move well. They play together extremely well. Davidson probably has a little bit more of a pattern, and Iowa has a little bit more of individual players making the decisions of what to do next. But, you know, we can draw upon, I thought we defended Davidson really, really well. And so hopefully that will carry over a little bit to defending Iowa. Again, you know, trying to guard this level of player is going to be extremely difficult for the full 40 minutes. And we just need to have some little victories in those possessions, even where he does score, and make it just a little bit harder for him if we possibly can. And over the course of 40 minutes, hopefully, you know, hopefully we can guard him enough and make it difficult enough for him that he doesn't make every shot.
And then one thing that Jacob mentioned, one thing that Jacob mentioned before he got off was that he's never taken an ice bath in his career at Richmond or in his basketball career. And obviously just playing so many minutes, just having played myself, I don't know if I've ever heard a player say that he'd never taken an ice bath. So what things does he do to kind of keep his body straight? And, you know, I guess how does that conversation work between him and the athletic training staff and things of that sort?
Yeah, he could be a little resistant to new things. So you know, that's on them. You know, I have I have a gigantic relationship with him that covers a lot of things. Whether he gets in the ice bath or not, that's not my issue. That's what those guys have to figure that out. Obviously, I think it's worked all right for him.
Did you have another one?
No, that's all. Thanks. Oh, sorry.
Chris, just one more. What are your impressions of Jordan Bohem? Because of the volume of games he's played, I think it's 178. He's second to Jacob in minutes played over the last dozen seasons.
Yeah, he's just a tremendous shooter. I think he's, you know, top 5 all time in 3-pointers made. You know, I mean, he's had close to 2 careers now. He's played so much college basketball. Just a tremendous shooter who can shoot from everywhere on the floor. You know, one area that they're great in is transition. Their transition offense is incredible, and he's a big part of that because his ability he has the ball pretty often, but also he can pull up or make shots from very deep. So I'm very impressed with him. And you know, he's the kind of guy who can, you know, break a game open because he can make such long shots and can do it so quickly, has a quick release. He's very impressive. Spread your defense out, makes it very difficult to guard.
Guys, anything else for Coach? Go ahead, Nicole.
So you all brought an incredible amount of energy to the A10 tournament. You know, what's your message to the guys this week? Because the energy of that tournament, it seemed to grow exponentially, right? So what's your message to the guys this week and how to bring that same energy to the game on Thursday?
Yeah, so I think today it'll just be more about Iowa and our preparation. And I think tomorrow, when we're up there and you can feel the excitement of the tournament and everybody in the town and the hotel and the gym, the open shooting session, then I think we'll talk about that a little bit because that really is a very important part of it. And you know, it would be impossible not to be energized for an NCAA tournament game, but you have to be at that high level to start the game, especially when you're playing a great opponent. So I think the message will be not necessarily carry it over, because I think in a way we want to put that behind us, as great as that experience was, put that behind us and then start new to get ready for this huge task and this great atmosphere. So I think that's kind of how we'll handle it. Today will be a bit of a bridge and just preparation, more mental than anything else. And then tomorrow talking about, you know, a little bit more physical, a little bit more of the game plan, a little bit more of that harnessing that energy.
And one more, a lot of people are calling Richmond one of the Cinderella stories of this tournament. Mm-hmm. You know, how does it feel to hear that?
Yeah, it feels, that's fine. You know, I think, you know, it's really, when you're in it, it's just a little bit of a different feeling, you know. I'm sure, like every tournament, there'll be plenty of upsets the first day, and we'd love to be part of that. But in reality, we want to prepare, you know, so that we go out there and we feel, you know, like we're playing a team that we can beat. And so I think that's more our mindset. And hopefully we can execute that.
Let's do one more if we have it.
Are you guys, we're hearing some schools are having travel plans. Are you guys having any travel plans? Travel problems.
Not so far. Not so far. We'll see. We early in the season, I think first 3 trips, Bob, I think
Yes,
we had massive travel issues. So not so far. I mean, hopefully that'll be all worked out pretty smoothly, and we'll be in Buffalo this evening.
6:30 tonight.
Yeah,
Mr. Gilliard, how long did it take to sort of get off that high and refocus, or is that still to come?
I think it's still to come, sort of. It's still kind of surreal. Vita was just asking me, what's going on. I was like, same old, and he said, no, it's not. He's right. It's it's a little different. Kind of just a different feeling. When you walk around, when you go to campus, when you see people, it's a little different. I'd imagine in 45 minutes, it'll be focused on Iowa, and our whole mindset will change.
Do you have a sense as to what the Hawkeyes are at this stage?
Good.
Keegan Murray, obviously, lead it back. Have you seen him, and what do you think?
I've watched a little bit. I kind of was just focused on the teams in our conference mostly. But, you definitely watch games. I think he's going to be a tough cover for, doesn't matter really who it is. They've been playing really good basketball. I mean, even before the tournament, I think the last month they've been like one of the 20 best teams. Maybe like one of the 10 best teams analytically. So it's going to be tough. At the end of the day, it's definitely going to be tough for us. But, we're excited. I think when we were in the A-10 tournament, it's sort of I think being the 6th seed, you think there's not too much pressure. You're not expected to win that many games. So it's less pressure than usual. I think going into this tournament, there should be no pressure on us. At the end of the day, it's March, man. It's time to have fun.
Thank you.
Can you contrast the confidence level of this team now as opposed to what it might have been a week ago even?
Yeah. It's our confidence is probably through the roof right now. I know mine is. I'd imagine I speak for the rest of the team when I say it's through the roof. Sort of a similar feeling to that first NIT win last year. When we didn't have Blake or Nick or Grant, and the younger guys were stepping up and playing, and we found a way to win that first game against Toledo. I remember thinking we're a confident group. We're a really good basketball group. I think we've got that feeling right now, but probably a little more.
Is Iowa like anybody you've played this year at all in terms of size, style, anything?
I mean, they've got a first-team All-American. It's going to be tough for us. I would say they're probably not like anybody we played. They shoot the ball well. Reminds me of Davidson probably, how many guys they have that can shoot the ball. But nobody that comes to mind.
In this day and age, we used to be able to say that, maybe teams wouldn't know much about Richmond. Your conference tournament, everybody knew who you were because you played them at least once, probably twice, a third time up in DC. But in this day and age, can any team really sneak up on another team, or is that kind of a thing of the past because of just how many different ways there are to scout an opponent?
Yeah, I think you can. Scouting for somebody is a lot different than actually being on the court with them. How we play, our offensive style is unique. I mean, everybody in the conference plays us, usually twice. I mean, they've played me for 5 years now. They kind of have an idea of tendencies and what I like to do, as well as our offense and how they can guard that. But, for a Big Ten team, I'd imagine, our style is going to be totally different than anything they've ever played against. So I got a feeling we'll sneak up on them.
Who is the most surprising person that you've heard from since Sunday afternoon?
Probably my dad, man. He never texts me back. He doesn't answer my calls. I'd say a lot of people reached out. I would say none were too surprising. You get people that you talked to 2 days ago. You get people that you talked to 2 years ago. But it was good to hear from people for sure.
My last question, how good do you all feel for Coach after, everything that he's gone through? He probably feels the losses twice as much as you all do. How good do you feel for him and being able to do this with him?
I feel really happy for Coach. I think midway through this year, he's probably like, yeah, why did you guys even come back? I don't even want you guys here. But yeah, no, I mean, for us to do it with the group of guys we had and Coach Mooney to be leading the way is definitely big for us.
You're a historian. How much have you looked at the 5 versus 12 spider lore of NCAA tournament matchups?
Not too much. I got a video sent to me the other day of KA and how he was playing, and Jay was literally just talking about it. He's comparing our 5 versus 12 colors of the jerseys versus the guys in the next round and stuff like that. It's basketball. I'm excited for it. I think it's only been a couple of years, maybe 1 year within the last 10, maybe, that a 5 hasn't upset a 12. So see what goes on.
Hey, I don't know if you remember our conversation when we were walking down the hotel hallway with Greg, and you said 23 years of life and my basketball career comes down to 40 minutes before the championship game. We could see the joy. Was there a sense of relief? How would you describe it? That statement seemed to indicate if these 40 minutes go well, it's a sense of relief. Yes, no?
Yeah, I mean, that was real. I told the guys that the same thing before we went out there and warmed up. At the end of the day, that was, guys worked their whole lives to get to the NCAA tournament. I mean, that's why you go to play college basketball. You could say that you go to upset high major programs or go to score however many points. But I mean, as a kid, you want to go to the NCAA tournament. That's the goal. And so for us to be able to have that chance it's a dream come true.
Hey, you guys talked a lot before the Rhode Island game and after it, that being in that atmosphere, in that building, in an NBA building was definitely different. How can that kind of help you going back into not an NBA building, but a building like that in Buffalo?
No, I mean, it should be good. I mean, it's easy to just say it's basketball, but I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. I think the biggest thing is confidence. I think we're going to go in very confident. When you're not too worried about missing a shot, it tends to go in for you. So I think our fans were great all weekend within that atmosphere. It was a great atmosphere. We're excited.
David Teal, do you want to go ahead?
Sure. Jacob, 160 minutes in 4 games in DC last week. Do you at all during a season have to manage yourself in practice and such just because of the minutes load that you're carrying during games?
I would say I don't manage myself. I think Coach Mooney does a pretty decent job of it. I'm probably the opposite. He takes me out a couple possessions into practice, and I'll be upset with him. I'll kind of throw my hands in there and ask why I'm even here if he's not going to let me play. At the end of the day, it is basketball. I want to play 24/7, 365. I love basketball. I want to be out there playing. So for me, I don't think too much about it.
You at any point have you always been, I guess, an endurance type athlete who could go for without sitting out?
In relation to basketball, I'd say yes. If you had me just running miles out there, I wouldn't be that good at that. I wouldn't have fun with that. I'm not. That's not me. But in basketball, I think you can find ways to manage your energy. The media timeouts obviously help, but you kind of just get lost in the game. I mean, that's just kind of what happens to me. I'm just going out there playing as hard as I can, giving my teammates 40 minutes of everything I have.
So at no point, just one more. So at any point on Sunday, did fatigue set in?
Yeah, after the game, it set in a little bit. I was a little tired. I told the team I might cramp up on the bus. I didn't, luckily, but while I'm out there, it's just complete everything I have. No fatigue during games. I try not to show it. I try to let my guys know that I got them no matter what.
John from Hoops HD.
Hey, Jacob, two questions about your senior point guard counterpart in Jordan Bohannon. Number one, can you even comprehend facing a guy, as you're quite the veteran leader yourself, but facing a guy who's played 178 college basketball games?
It's a lot of games. I mean, I'd say the biggest thing to the 178 games is he's won a lot of games. I mean, you get to play a lot more games when you're winning. You know, he's a veteran. I think he's a 6th year. I'd imagine he's played that many games. He's a 6th year. I'm excited. You know, he's a good player. Heard a lot of things about him. Obviously, he played well in the tournament. You know, you got to be excited for any time you get to match up with any Big Ten team.
And following up on that, I know it's a team game, obviously, but do you feel that you need to either win your individual matchup with him or like try to keep him below his normal stat line to have your guys a good chance to win?
I mean, I feel like I in order for us to have a chance to win, I probably should keep him under his averages. But no, I don't. No, I think when you're playing basketball, if you go out there with a one-on-one mindset, you're playing basketball the wrong way. At the end of the day, for me personally, it doesn't matter, you know, how I'm impacting the game as long as I'm doing so. Whether it's scoring, passing, guarding, it doesn't matter. It's not about me and him. It's going to be about Richmond and Iowa. So any way I can help my team win, I'm going to try and do that.
David, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, Jacob, what is between games? What is your recovery process? Are you in cold tubs, stretching? Well, what do you do?
I've never been in a cold tub in my life, ever. I think my heart would genuinely stop if I get in a cold tub. But lately, you know, Jay did our strength trainer, strength coach, did a really good job of making sure that we were taken care of after each game. You know, I think we were doing recovery until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. some nights this past week, getting massages, stretching, rolling. You know, I didn't put my feet in ice bath, but I soaked my feet in Epsom salt. It was warm water. We started doing cryotherapy probably 2 weeks ago. I can manage that. I can do that a little bit, and it's been helpful for us. I think it allowed me to play 160 minutes for sure.